Fox News' Tucker Carlson went on a rant against progressives last week because apparently we don't tip. Take a look.
It all makes sense now. Ask any waiter how well progressives tip. Seriously, ask a waiter. A group of progressive activists arrives at a restaurant. They linger for hours delivering passionate lectures about the horrors of income inequality. When they leave, they shaft the working people who serve them food, the very people they claim to care about. Only with progressivism is this behavior possible. Precisely because they care so much about structural inequality, progressives don't have to leave actual cash on an actual table for actual workers. Their tip is their profound sense of caring. Too bad waiters can't pay the rent with that.
What? Now, I love how Tucker Carlson, a multimillionaire, has attempted to turn himself into a champion of the working class in a way that shows you that there is a strain of populism on the right, and Tucker Carlson is actually trying to talk to that audience. I guess that's kind of a good thing, right? But of course, like much of the right wing, it's not at all based on factual information. There's actually no evidence that progressives don't tip. That's absurd. No, look, there is other evidence, of course, that people who actually make less, that have less, are actually more generous with that money. Those don't happen to be people who are generally really conservative. But nonetheless, personally, let's talk about tipping, right? So, I'm a progressive. You guys know this. Well, okay, I went out to dinner with my wife. I took her out to a restaurant over the weekends. First time we had a date in forever, and the first time we could actually be able to afford to go out. So I took her out, and I tipped 20%. That's a fairly decent tip, right? It's actually what you're supposed to do. And personally, I always try to get it at least 15 to 20% every time I go out and every time I order in. Now, that's not, of course, often, but look, the reason that I do that is because I know that these people are trying to survive, and they do so majority of on tips, right? I mean, look, what we should do, talking about legislation, right, more than what we can just personally do, is to maybe push legislation that would increase their base pay, so that maybe they don't have to rely so much on tips, where a gratuity can maybe actually be used what it was meant for, a bonus for good work. Nonetheless, that would involve raising the tip minimum wage from the federal $2.13 an hour to something more. And that, of course, is not something that people like Tucker Carlson are willing to do. Oh, no, you can't raise the minimum wage, especially the tip minimum wage. No, that's going to hurt the restaurant industry. Is it now? Come on. And of course, I love how he loves to blame progressives for not tipping without evidence, while he ignores and fights against raising the wages of workers. It's a little bit of hypocrisy there, Tucker. What a champion of working people you are. I do both. I tip 15 to 20%, and I push for a higher minimum wage. Why? Because I know that there are working people out there that actually rely on that. That's how they survive. I have friends that work in that industry that they have, relied on tips. But here's the thing. The whole point of that segment was to go after people on the left, right? And, of progressives, right? He doesn't know a progressive when he sees one. He really doesn't understand, or maybe he does and just lies about it, what progressives do and what believe, right? What they believe. Now, you want to go after limousine liberals like Nancy Pelosi. Well, that's great. She's bourgeois, right? So, her and Hillary Clinton, or what I really wanted to call her for some reason, Hot Sauce Hillary, with the hot sauce in her purse. But look, if you want to criticize those people for being the, bourgeois liberals and limousine liberals, whatever, and not understanding working people, I'm with you, Tucker Carlson. I'm with you. I can understand. I will also criticize those people because they're not progressive and they don't understand what working people actually want and what they go through, right? But again, he doesn't understand. These right-wingers literally can't tell that there is a schism inside the Democratic Party between leftists and radical centrists. Or they don't care and just smear anyone to the left of them as old the same. Now, I don't know about Tucker Carlson, right? Sometimes he gets it right when he goes after the billionaires, using that little populism, right? But then it always comes back to attacking the left and blaming them for the country's problems. And as usual with Tucker Carlson, sometimes he gets just so close, but he just falls short. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.